21 Jump Street, 2012. A new and potentially lethal drug has surfaced, and two terrible cops have one chance to prove themselves by going deep undercover as high school students. Now they must find and arrest the supplier before the drugs go rampant in the streets.
Completely overrated.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Our Rating, the show where I get together with two of my friends. We take a movie franchise, break it down by film, give them an overall score, and then throw them back on the board to see where they land compared to the other movie franchises. I'm normally joined by two buddies, but this week we are just joined with Brian. How are you doing this week, Brian?
I'm good, Dan. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Will is unfortunately away with family for last week and this week, so we'll get him for the intro as well as the score. But other than that, it's just going to be the two of us discussing.
And we do enjoy keeping him on the screen for comical purposes. That's why he's frozen up there. Also, it makes the arrangement on the windows a little better for us. So we're going to keep him here, just in spirit, though. If you've never been to any of these videos before, then stay to the end. We have a poster with all the ratings of these franchises where we compare them one to the other, and we break them down with our own personal scores. So if you want to find out what we think about these films as a scoring, stay till the end.
Now, Brian, is this 21 Jump Street came out 2012? I believe you mentioned you'd seen it before. Is this your first time viewing it? Second time viewing?
This is the second time I viewed it. When it first came out, I didn't see it the theatrical release. I waited for it to come out on maybe a DVD or whatever was going on back then. I don't remember because it's kind of older. And so it's been a while, and I'll tell you, I wasn't looking forward to this movie as one of our franchises, but I was pleasantly surprised. I actually enjoyed watching it this time. How about you, Dan? How many times have you seen this?
I believe this is my third time watching this one. Also did not watch this in theaters. I think I maybe saw the trailer and I was just like, I'm good. Like, it just didn't look like anything special to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then my wife had a friend over and they were debating what they wanted to do. And they were like, oh, let's watch like this 21 Jump Street thing. And I was just like, I'm good. I'll see you guys in a couple hours. And I ended up catching enough of it, maybe not the very, very beginning, but enough early on that I was like kind of brought in. And then I ended up sticking around for the entire thing. I remember really enjoying it. Ended up showing it to a buddy on a night shift years later. We were both just killing ourselves at 2 a.m. watching this thing. I really enjoyed this movie, and then I watched it again this week with my wife. Unfortunately, was not able to make it to your watch party, but stuck around for like a minute or two and saw you laughing, and I was like, "Aha, that's a good sign."
Yeah, yep.
I was pretty sure you had mentioned that you were not a big fan of this one. So
yeah, I was thinking this is going to be really terrible. I remembered it being a horrible film. Possibly remembering the sequel. We'll find out next week. So stay tuned for that one. Now, Dan, did you ever watch the source material that this was spun off of? Because they do reference it quite a bit in the movie.
That's interesting. I only caught maybe one or two references to the original. I didn't ever watch the original whatsoever. Obviously, I'm aware that Johnny Depp was in it, and you would get those two actors later on in the film, which is a very fun little surprise cameo. And I think early on they referenced like, the department's out of ideas, the rehashing this stupid plan from the 80s.
This thing because no one can come up with anything new these days. Yeah, that was a great line. That line really set me up for this movie, and it put me in the mood for this movie because right off the bat, they're letting you know, hey, we know what's going on here. We're not going to take ourselves seriously. We're going to have some fun with this. And they do a lot of those jokes throughout the film. And I think they're very funny, and they make the movie okay because without that feel to it, without that recognition, if they were trying to take themselves seriously with this movie, it would definitely fall flat. But because of that, it really comes together.
I'm not going to lie. I was watching this with my wife, and when that line came up and they self-referenced, I thought of you. Because you've made mention of that quite a few times, whether it's like Jurassic World or a couple other ones that I'm blanking on now, where like, oh, they're letting us know that they know this is really stupid. We are in on the joke of what is going on here. They're not trying to play it off as like, look, this smart idea we have, or we're so original for bringing back this TV show from the 80s. I legitimately did think of you when Nick Offerman was talking during that scene. And it is just a funny scene in general. Like, even the fact that he's like, you guys are going to 36 Jump Street. Wait. Cut away. I was like, all right, pretty good.
Yeah, just little quips like that that let you know that they're in on it makes the movie go so much better. I wouldn't be able to handle this film if they took it seriously. It would just it would be miserable, and I don't think that we would have a 22 Jump Street had they done that.
No, but I will say, like, there's a lot of good talent in this film, both behind the camera and in front of the camera. I'm not the world's biggest Jonah Hill fan, but I think he works really well with Channing Tatum. And I found out that I didn't realize that Jonah Hill was actually one of the writers on this film. So he was actually like kind of writing this part for him and Jonah Hill. And it took a little bit of convincing to get to get Channing Tatum to actually join the cast. He's like, I wrote this with us in mind. You got to do it. And Channing's like, no, I'm good. He passed on it twice before Jonah Hill was actually able to convince him to join him on it. And I'm really glad he did. Like, I don't know Channing Tatum from that many things, but everything I see him in, he's actually pretty funny.
Yeah, I was very pleased with the chemistry between the two. Their banter back and forth is what really entertains me in the film. The plot is trash. We know it's trash. They even say it's trash. We know, right? The idea that these guys are going to actually pass as high schoolers is ridiculous. The only reason the viewer doesn't see the striking juxtaposition of age is because all of the high school kids are actually 20-year-old actors or more. So they all look really similar in age, but they're all too old to be in high school. So that's fine. So you got to rely on some of this dialogue, some of the jokes that they're telling and the banter between these two. And they have great chemistry. So I'm glad that we got Channing Tatum. It doesn't seem like it would be a great fit, but it does work out. They do come off as good friends.
Yeah. And I mean, in fairness, the entire cast, the entire time is also commenting like, you guys look really old. Like,
yeah. Especially to Channing Tatum for some reason.
Yeah.
Like Tatum gets a bunch of those references for some reason. So, but they both looked old to me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how old Jonah Hill is at this point, but yeah, he's got to be late 20s, early 30s, I would assume. Like, there's no way he's
I think
fresh
so.
out of high school. What do you think, Will? Sounds good. All right.
Put it by myself.
Had to do it at least once. But no, like the cast in general, like I really liked Ice Cube in this film. If I remember correctly, I like him actually more in the sequel. There's definitely a couple of parts where he just gets me, like just a look.
Oh, I'm going to have to hard disagree with you on this one. I did not like Ice Cube in this. I thought he was one of the weakest parts of the film. I thought his jokes were way too heavy-handed and a little too crass for me.
I'll agree with you on the crass for sure.
Didn't really like it much. It just didn't. It felt jarring to me.
I'll give you the crass 100%. There's a lot of this movie that's really crass, and a lot of the jokes in this do not work for me at all.
We run into this issue with humor. All of us have different angles on what we like for comedy, and so, you know, if Will was here, he'd probably have his own take on different parts of this film. There were some jokes that I definitely didn't laugh at that I know you probably were laughing at, and vice versa.
I'm certain that's true. I don't know off the top of my head which ones that I was killing myself at that you probably didn't get, or not that you didn't get, that you probably didn't find as funny.
Right.
I will bet money. I have not watched it. I have not seen it. I know that it works, and hopefully we can get it to go later in the episode. I'm going to guess Will hated this movie. I'm going to guess this is one where he's like, I had no desire to watch this. The only reason I watched this because of the episode, and I'll never watch it again. Is my guess. I will be pleasantly surprised if he enjoyed this at all.
You know, I don't know. I think there's 50-50 odds on this one, whether he likes it or not. We'll have to watch his video clip and find out where he lands on it. So stay tuned for that as well. For me, you know, I have trouble with comedies because my sense of humor changes as I grow older. And we've revisited other comedies and they don't hold up. Anchorman, for one. I remember when that movie first came out, everybody was quoting lines from it. It was a hilarious movie. We watched that franchise. I hated the film. I was like, this is terrible. It's not funny. It's inappropriate. So I've obviously grown up a bunch. So for this film, not quite as old, but for this film, I feel like maybe I did grow out of some of the jokes. But for the most part, I still was able to just kind of let go and have some fun with the silliness of it. You know, like when they get their first arrest and they're like kind of teabagging the guy on the ground and everything, I was chuckling at that. I think I probably was laughing harder the first time around because it's so immature, but I was still having a good time with it. But there were other jokes, like when the teacher is coming on to Jenko, Channing Tatum's character, and he tries to like push her away with a crass statement. He's like, I got to go take a dump. You know, and I'm just like, toilet humor. I grew out of that years ago. Like, no, it's not good for me. So hits and misses here.
I'll agree with you that I got to take a dump line didn't work for me whatsoever. But I'll disagree with you that the arresting the guy and teabagging him also didn't work for me. But for a second there, I thought you were going to say that the teacher, Ellie Kemper's character, didn't work for you. And I was like, I thought she was hilarious.
Oh, like, I didn't like her. Yeah, I didn't like her. It was
especially
weird.
At the prom when she's just like, what are you doing here? You're getting in trouble. Please don't leave me. You're so gorgeous. No, but you have to go. But oh God, please stay. Like she was killing me. I really like her. She was
good. And I like that. I mean, we've seen that kind of skit before where somebody's secretly, obviously in love. And so it was good and she did a good job, but I don't know. Maybe because we just came off of American Beauty, be sure to check out that episode. The age difference creepy kind of thing. I was still in he's supposed to be a high school kid and you're supposed to be a teacher and you're obviously fawning over him. So felt creepy. Maybe that could have just been the way we rolled into this movie. I don't know.
So that one didn't bother me as much. I get what you're saying, but that one didn't bother me as much because they probably actually are pretty close in age.
Yeah.
Whereas like Jonah Hill and Brie Larson, like she actually is a high school student.
They did make a mention that she was 18 in there, and I think that was intentional.
Very early. They did that very early on purpose to just be like, no, she's legal. Like, don't yell at us. It's still gross because he's probably 24, 25 in the movie. Right. They jumped 7 years from high school, so I got to assume he's in that range, which is not like the biggest age gap, but it's definitely a very important age gap when you're 18 to 25. So that was like, I get that you pointed that she's 18, but it's still a little too close to the line for me.
Yeah. And my wife is 7 years younger than me, so I'm not, estranged from this idea entirely. But yeah, I do actually believe it's because we're rolling hot off the heels of American Beauty, and that was super creepy. Later rewatching that. And so I do think it's just got me in this state of mind where I'm not interested in teenagers in high school. It's just a little too much. So.
That's fair. So did you bump into the Jonah Hill Brie Larson one? Like you're talking about the teacher with the student. What about the cop with the student?
For some reason, the Jonah Hill Brie Larson thing didn't bother me as much, but it was still there. It was still in my mind. I was like, she's a kid and she's a high school girl and you're supposed to be well out of high school. So it's still a little creepy. For some reason, it didn't bother me quite as much as the Channing Tatum with the teacher thing, but yeah.
Interesting. Okay,
is what it is.
I found I can't picture many movies I've seen with Brie Larson in them. I actually liked her quite a bit in this. I thought the dynamic was actually pretty cute.
Yeah, she was good. I enjoyed her character. I enjoyed what she did in this movie. She did a fantastic job.
Yeah. So going back to the humor for a second, because you're right, humor is incredibly subjective. This movie is directed by Lord and Miller, Phil Lord and Chris Miller. I believe their full names are Christopher Miller, who have just an incredible track record for me with 21-22 Jump Street, Project Hail Mary. I think it's Meet the Robinsons, I believe. And then, of course, the big ones for me are the Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse movies. Mm-hmm. Everything I just listed, I absolutely adore. So, like, I really like these guys. I like their sense of humor. I like the projects they're working on. And I wish so hard that we could see their version of Solo, because unfortunately they were fired from Star Wars, a Solo movie. And then we got the version we got, which I don't think is a terrible film, but like, I just really wish we could see their version
what they would have done with it. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you familiar with Phil Lord and Miller?
They're not anybody that jumps out at me particularly, but you and Will are the ones who remember everybody's name in Hollywood and, have their posters on the walls and everything. Me, I just watch the movies and then usually forget about them because I can't remember what I had for breakfast. But the Spider-Verse films for sure are fantastic. I haven't seen Project Hail Mary yet. Very interested to see that because I enjoyed the book and I enjoyed The Martian. I enjoyed the Martian movie. So I kind of want to see where Project Hail Mary goes. But yeah,
this isn't that podcast, but like I would, especially for you, I would definitely say go watch it on a big screen. Like see it before it leaves theaters.
Okay.
It's gorgeous.
I'll have to check it out for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
So one person in Hollywood who I'm not a huge fan of per se is Jonah Hill. I liked him in Superbad. And then I kind of felt like he was just kind of riding those coattails for a very long time. And I didn't really see anything new come from him. And then when he did do new and different things, he kind of had a bit of an angry tone about him most of the time. And it's kind of rough. So that's just my perspective on Jonah Hill. But I still think he's got some chops. And this was kind of in the hiatus of his career back when he was doing more comedy and less serious stuff. And I think he did a great job in this film. And I think one of the things that I liked about this movie was the role reversal when they go to high school and find out that high school is not like it used to be. That was kind of interesting. That was probably the only plot point that was fresh and different and new. And I liked it because like the kids were all environmentally friendly and stuff. And Channing Tatum's character was this jock guy who likes to make fun of people who try, and suddenly he's on the outs. So we had them do this role reversal, and of course it led into some like cliche, let's break up as friends and get back together in the end and whatnot. But they negotiated some of those cliches pretty well. I liked when they're getting dressed, getting ready for prom. They're clearly still upset, but they have to work with each other. It was a decent scene that they had there. I liked it.
I'm so sorry. You stuttered hard there for a second, like your camera stopped or something.
Yeah, something happened there. In fact, the whole restream went black and phased out. It was like I was waiting to join restream. So I don't know what happened. Okay. Do we need to do that? Just cut the damn thing out. Who cares? I was just bitching about Jonah Hill.
Well, I mean, you're not entirely wrong. I feel very similar in a lot of ways. I liked Superbad okay. I didn't love it as much as most people did. I like the 21 Jump Streets, and I love Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street is fantastic.
It's all terrible people, but it's a great movie.
Right.
But like, I would definitely not. Jonah Hill is not the kind of person who brings me into a movie. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to go watch a movie because he's in it. Yeah. But he's definitely been in movies that I have enjoyed.
Yep. And he's done a great job in several movies. There are just several times when I didn't really care for his performance in films, or he maybe made a film worse for me because of his performance.
He definitely has a tendency to go like way over the top, like almost like a little
too far sometimes.
Will Ferrell type.
Will Ferrell type.
Yelling is funny, and it's just like, no, I'm good. Like less is more sometimes.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I think Channing Tatum kind of brought that energy to this one. Like he is a much more downplayed, like he's the straight man, right? To Jonah Hill's wild, and I think they had a pretty decent chemistry. I like what you were talking about how they kind of do that role reversal where the nerds are the cool kids to some extent, right? Like, or the they didn't
turn out to be nerds. They turned out to be
poor wording, but
like drug dealing rich kids, kind of. They kind of sucked even worse, but and but at the same time, it was like what was cool then is no longer cool now, and Jonah Hill said like had I just been in high school 4 years later, I'd have been king of the school. And
I felt that. Like I feel that a little bit. Like don't get me wrong, I like where my life is at, but like there's a point where I'm like, man, like video games are cool now. Like why wasn't this where I was in high school? Like what the hell?
For sure.
I also like because not only do they have the role reversal of like what every kid is like in school, but they also kind of flip, like they get their characters wrong. So Jonah Hill has to try and be the
that was cool too. Yes, that was cool too. I liked that. And one other thing that I really liked was the captain says, "Yeah, there's a lot of cliches. Just lean into it." Right? He's telling the audience that too, and they immediately go to the parking lot scene. They're walking down and they're pointing out all the different cliches, and suddenly they start coming on these cliches they've never seen before because they're kind of new.
The like anime girls are like, don't know what that is.
It was really good because I too was like, I'm unfamiliar with that as well.
I don't know what to call that, but okay. I don't know.
It was just amazing to see what they could do script wise with such a boring, tired, trash plot and still make it funny, and put some freshness into it. So they did a lot with a little bit, and it was kind of cool because this could have been a terrible, terrible movie, but because they didn't take it seriously, because they damn near broke the fourth wall with the audience at times, they made this a hilarious film. Actually, I laughed a lot during this. I had some really good laughs at this. There are very few jokes that did fall flat, and that was just not my bag. That's all.
Usually for me, it was like they weren't like jokes that fell flat for me. It was just some of the dialogue back and forth, kind of getting between the two jokes. Like where they're just calling them like the teabagging and thrusting the cop and stuff like that. Like that was all just a little too much for me. But at the same time, it was just kind of like, okay, it's like 2 seconds as we get from A to B kind of a thing. A lot of this movie, kind of like you were saying with Greenland last week, was just like, okay, here are the major things we want to do. We want to have this like bike chasing at the beginning. We want to have the car chase there. We want to have the drug dealer, but it's like their friend in high school. All these different scenes. And then we just kind of have these weird scenes to get to and from. But again, like so many of them worked for me. Even the few that didn't were just overshadowed by what did. Yeah. One of the scenes I thought was absolutely hilarious was when they're stopped in the hallway and they are just tripping and they're talking to the coach or whatever. And all of a sudden he's like, an ice cream cone and other things. Like, I just want to lick you. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, put your tongue back in. That's weird. Like, there's just like, it's such a dumb scene and it could have gone horribly, but it absolutely worked for me despite itself. I don't really know, but
yeah, I love the how they're watching the video of the kid using drugs, and it gives you the demonstration of the different stages. And then throughout the movie, other people experience those stages, and you get those quick cuts where it shows the tripping balls scene or whatever. Those are really good. I like the way they piece that together, the foreshadowing, and then using that joke repeatedly throughout the film without it getting tired. It was a great gag. It worked really well, and I had fun with that. The drug itself was stupid, but you forgive it because the humor that they brought to the table because of it worked, and it was a lot of fun. I would say that this has components that we talked about in the previous videos of Greenland and Greenland 2, where Greenland had these excellent, exciting sequences that were tied together with absolute garbage plot lines, and you're okay with it because the sequences were so funny. This movie, 21 Jump Street, had faults for sure, but because I was laughing at most of the stuff, I didn't mind the bad tie-ins and the trash plot that they use to get around through this film. And unlike Greenland 2, where everything in that film sucked, including the way they tied it together, this one has substance. So I am worried that 22 Jump Street is going to be a Greenland 2, where it's got not only trash plot lines, trash ways to get from A to B, but when you're at A or B, it is also going to be garbage. That's my fear, that they lose the humor, they lose the banter, they lose the chemistry. We'll see. That's going to be next week. For me, 21 Jump Street was definitely a win, has its faults, but still really good.
Yeah, I don't remember 22 as well. I know I've seen it. I've probably seen it twice. There's definitely one scene that I am just waiting for. But other than that, I'm just like, I'm pretty sure I remember and it does hold up. I don't think it's maybe as good, but it's definitely not like falling off a cliff like some sequels do, especially comedy sequels. Like, one of the main reasons I wanted to push for this franchise is because, like, I think you had made mention before we even put it on the calendar that you were not a fan. And I was like, that sucks. Cause I don't feel like I think I have a bit of an idea of Will's sense of humor. I don't know that I've got your sense of humor is locked in just yet, or at least not your sense of humor in film. But this is one where I was like, I really like the humor in this one. I would love to share it with you guys, but I don't know that it's going to resonate with you as well. But there's so few comedies that are franchises that are funny. Like, we tried Anchorman. That was a fail. Zoolander is going to be atrocious if we ever have to get to that. Like, there's a lot of comedies that have like similar DNA, but they're not technically a franchise.
Yeah, like a
right?
Billy
Like a lot of the
Madison
Mel
type of thing.
Brooks and stuff like that. Like all the Mel
Yeah.
Brookses are all similar, but they're not related. So it's
And
like I would love this one to
humor
actually
evolves
work
so much.
and be something that is comedic that we can share and have on this and not be at the very bottom of the pile.
Yep.
Sorry,
yep,
go ahead.
Exactly. I was going to say that, humor evolves so much and so rapidly over time that stand-up skits from the 90s don't hold up today. And movies from the 90s don't hold up today because our appreciation of humor evolves and those stay exactly the same, frozen in time. So it's kind of tough because I may go back to Robin Hood Men in Tights going, yeah, this movie made me laugh my ass off. And I revisit it now and go, what was I thinking? You just never know.
Yeah. I watched Airplane way too late in life. Which is to say, like, it came out in like 81 or something, and I probably watched it in like 2017 with my wife. And it's on my movie poster. So I kind of had to watch it, but I was not looking forward to it because of exactly what you're talking about. Like humor just evolves. I died laughing. Like that movie was still really funny to me because I didn't see it coming. Not a lot. There are definitely certain types of humor that are shock value. Like if you don't see it coming, it'll be really, really funny to you. And as things not only as humor evolves, but just as like movies grow, they steal from each other so much that you don't get as shocked by seeing something, even though it's the first time you've seen it, because you're like, well, I've seen similar riffs of that going on.
Yeah.
An example of that in this movie was when they're on the highway and like they're leading up to this big explosion and then nothing happens.
Yeah, that was good.
And it was like, it's good, but like, I do feel like we've seen that before. And then finally the chickens is the one that explodes and you're just like,
yeah,
really? Okay. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'd seen it. Maybe because I've seen this movie a couple of times, and like some of the jokes did work for me because they were more dialogue based, whereas that was more of like a sight gag. That was kind of like, like I can tell it's well done.
See, I had forgotten about the explosion one, and so it made me laugh. And I did enjoy it. Again, the movie was making fun of itself and making fun of the cliches, so I appreciated that. One of my favorite types of humor is simple, like ad-lib banter, freestyle dialogue between characters who genuinely have chemistry on and off screen.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that usually make me laugh because it's things that you just like, these people were having a good time filming the movie. You just know it. You could just see it. You could feel it in the bones of the film. And so it helps me to laugh about it because these people are having a good time, whether they're doing a scary or frightening skit or an angry skit or whatever. That in reality, these people are trying to keep their shit together and not break out laughing because it's so hilarious. That's the kind of stuff. So Saturday Night Live skits, that's the kind of stuff I love to watch because they're kind of just freestyling stuff, making it happen right then and there. And it usually comes out pretty good, or at least the older stuff does. I haven't watched Saturday Night Live in quite some time.
I haven't in a very, very long time, except for maybe the odd clip here and there. I'll agree with exactly what you're saying, but I'll take it one step further. Even serious movies, when you can tell there's a really good chemistry between the lead actors, I'm going to go to Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. I'll watch almost anything those two guys are in together because they're such good friends behind the scenes. And most of the time that comes through really, really well in the chemistry of the movie. Sorry, you were about to ask me a question.
Well, I was going to ask you a question about Dave Franco. What did you think about his character? Did you like him? Did you think he did a good job acting? Because for me, not so much on all fronts.
I think he did a decent enough job in the sense that I didn't like him, and you're not supposed to like him. So like it worked. Whether that was I didn't think he acted poorly. I just wanted to punch him in the face every time he was on screen.
That's definitely true. What I didn't understand is why is this the popular kid? This guy's a douchebag. Like his friends,
question.
like that clique, I could see them being popular and being the cool kids or whatever. But Dave Franco was just kind of an asshole. And maybe that was what they were going for, but the structure of his character just didn't really work for me. And every scene he was in, I was waiting for him to leave.
That's fair. I can't argue with that. I wasn't the biggest fan, but at the same time, I feel like you could replace him with somebody else and I would feel the same. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that the acting was poor.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't the actor. Maybe it was the character drawn up. Huss in chat has it right. Both Francos have punchable faces.
You're not wrong. I it did feel a little simple for how big the school is. The very first person they talk to is the girlfriend of the drug dealer.
Yeah.
And they get the drug dealer's number. They're like, hey, I want to buy some stuff. And he's like, cool, meet me here. No clandestine anything. Just straight up, here's my face. I'm dealing drugs. Please arrest me. And you're just like,
yeah.
Okay. No, they had to wait till they found the supplier, but it was like, you're just trying to get caught.
Yeah, it was a little weird. I think, they were just trying to expedite the movie. They already understand that this plot is full of holes and doesn't make any sense. So they were just trying to get
to the
point A to point B. And I was okay with it because that sequence led to them taking drugs at school and a lot of hilarious stuff ensues and had me laughing. So I immediately forgot about Franco and moved on to laughing and having a good time.
That's fair. I'm not going to deny any of that. I have to ask you, because I have to assume this is not where you got it from, but you have a very specific mug. But I don't know if you got it handy within reach at the moment.
Shoot him in the dick?
Shoot him in the dick.
Yeah.
Did that in any way, shape, or form come from this film? Did you completely forget about that?
I completely forgot about that. Completely forgot about that. But we were in the watch party, and I was telling Miss Hillary, I was like, I need to clip that for a redemption from chat. And then they said something else, kind of along the same lines. I'm like, and that one too. I need to go back and clip that. Those are going to be redemptions on my channel for sure. Yeah, I think it was like Channing Tatum. He was like, you shot his dick off.
You shot him in the dick. Yeah. And I'm picturing you do the exact same thing on your watch party.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I was living it up there at the watch party for that scene. That was kind of funny. So yeah, I am going to go back and clip those and put those as redemptions on my Twitch stream. It
was one of the things where, like, if I didn't know you, I don't think that joke would have worked for me. But because I also forgot about that, and then I remembered like your line, I was just like, "Oh my god, that's perfect."
Yep.
But
yeah, that was pretty good.
If you like what we do and you want to help support us, consider joining the Patreon. There's a link down below. Thank you to our producers, as well as our executive producer Dino, and of course our head writers Elder JM990, Miss Hillary, and Real Bubba Hotep. Thank you all so much.
21 Jump Street, jumping into the streets here. I don't really understand why it's called 21 Jump Street. I guess that's the address of the church on Jump Street, I guess. But either way, forget the title, forget the plot, forget the source material. This movie made me laugh. That's what I want from a comedy. That's all that really matters. When you go to see a comedy, you need to laugh. I laughed a lot during this film, so that was okay. When you get into the nuts and bolts of things, there's definitely some ups and downs, some stuff that could have been better. It's not going to win any awards for just about anything, but I had a good time and I laughed. That's what I wanted. Movie gets a 69. If you're into comedies, this is one that you should definitely watch.
I have to agree with everything Brian said. There's not a whole lot to rate on this one. I think the needle drops, like the songs in this, were well chosen. I like that they had NWA, and of course Ice Cube is in this film. I love Lord Miller. I liked enough of the actors in this. I think the chemistry between Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum was actually really fun. But at the end of the day, like, I don't really care that much about the cinematography, stuff like this in a comedy. When I go to watch a comedy, I want to laugh. I laughed a lot. This is the third time I've seen this film, and I was still laughing with my wife. Now, admittedly, 3 times in 14 years, we're not watching this very often, so we do give ourselves time to cool down on it, forget some of the jokes. But I laughed a lot, and I'm looking forward to seeing the sequel. That's kind of exactly what I want from a comedy. So this one gets a 79 from me.
All right. Before we watch Will's clip.
Oh, it's going to be lower than 50.
Guess the number. Give me a number. I'm going to throw out a 61.
I said lower than 50. I'm going to go 55.
You're going to go 55?
I'm going to go. It's a pass because I don't know. It's
quality enough built film that it's technically plausible.
Exactly. Like there's
the
enough.
Writing is pretty terrible, but it just really depends. If Will finds the humor funny, then he'll probably give the writing a pass.
Of all the things we've seen, I can't imagine he's going to give the writing a pass on this one. And of what I've seen from Will's sense of humor, I just don't think this is going to tick that box. I think it's going to be.
I think you may be right. I might be coming in high with 61. Chat's throwing out 55, 52, 64, 60.
Yeah, I'm in the 50 to 55 range. I think it's going to get a pass, but a really bad one, and definitely not a recommend. But what do you think, Will?
So this is a movie I passed on back in 2012 when it released. It didn't seem to be a movie I had any interest in whatsoever. Past me was 100% correct. I didn't care for this movie whatsoever. I had something about the Judd Apatow brand of humor, the raunchy comedies, the stupid people doing stupid things for stupid reasons. I just never really got behind that kind of comedy. You can recall back to Anchorman. I never watched that movie until R rating, and I didn't care for it. I didn't watch this movie until R rating, and I didn't care for it. The premise is whatever we've seen, the unpopular kid become popular, that switch in power or whatever has happened before in other movies and shows, and this one is not great in its execution. There's just was nothing I found funny in this movie, almost nothing anyway. And furthermore, the recent watching of American Beauty for R rating kind of just like hit hard in this movie as well, where you've got this person of power. What's his name? Jonah Hill's character, who is a police officer who is currently on the job, but he's also crushing on this high school student. Kind of creepy. Even more so is the Ellie Kempler character, the teacher, who is straight up verbally sexually assaulting Channing Tatum's character, who is, as far as she knows, a high school student as well. So none of these made for any laughs for me. I mean, just because they are of age, is that supposed to make it funny? I didn't get it. Maybe I'm just a stick in the mud. I don't know what it is. Aside from that, was there anything that I enjoyed about this movie? I guess the cameo appearance from the 21 Jump Street characters from the 80s TV show, that was kind of fun. It was short enough and sweet enough that, it played okay. And I guess I like the Nick Offerman character. He was in it for a grand total of 5 minutes in the movie, and then the movie went downhill from there for me. Maybe what it is Nick Offerman is a very skilled actor and is able to ground his characters enough in reality that you believe them. And that's what makes it funny, is that characters who know they're dumb and act dumb and do dumb things aren't engaging to me. Whereas characters who are grounded and come across as real and do dumb things, that can create comedy. And maybe that's a difference in this brand of comedy that I just don't. I can't get attached to any of these characters because I just don't feel anything for them. I don't believe them. It's just there's nothing to them but stupidity, and that's supposed to be funny. But if it's not based in any reality, or you can't relate to it at all, I just don't see where the humor is. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It probably is just me. Reviews for this movie across the board from the past until now, people are still talking about how funny this movie is. I just don't see it. But I mean, it's the same with any movie. Old school, most of Will Ferrell's movies, The Hangover, any Judd Apatow, whatever his name is, those movies just don't do it for me. This movie didn't do it for me. 44 out of 100. I cannot wait to watch 22 Jump Street.
I think he's lying to us. I don't think he wants to watch 42 Jump Street at all.
Oh my goodness. Ouch, man. He came down harsh on that. But you know what? Will does like intelligent writing, intelligent comedy. And so that this all checks. I'm glad that he and I are on the same page of it being creepy, especially coming off of the heels of American Beauty. So I get that. But man, maybe somebody get this guy a blunt before he's going to go watch one of these dumb humor movies, let him just bring himself down so we can enjoy it, I guess.
It was interesting to me that you both mentioned American Beauty. I didn't hit on that at all. I did pick up on it's weird the age difference on these two characters, or the two different relationships, but I never put that together with American Beauty and connected that dot specifically.
we never thought about it the first time we saw American Beauty. We all said we didn't really think about that age difference when we were younger. And I never thought about it in 21 Jump Street the first time I saw it. But now that I'm older, I do think, hey, like Will said, this is a person who's supposed to be in a position of power, who's pretending to be younger and taking advantage of this girl. Whether it's intentional or realistic or not, he shouldn't be doing that. So.
Oh, for sure. I understand the connection. I just didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't hit up against it while watching it. And with that, we see 21 Jump Street coming in just below Avatar with a total rating of 64. That's a 79 from me, a 69 from Brian, and a 44 from Will. This is disappointingly low for me. I was hoping this would be a comedy franchise that would kind of maybe not crack the top 10, but like at least be in the upper half. And I don't think if Will didn't like 21 Jump Street, I can't imagine he's going to like 22 Jump Street. So I'm imagining this will stay around where it is, maybe even coming down a little bit. I'm not entirely sure. What do you think about the placement, Brian?
Okay. I think it's pretty close to Beverly Hills Cop. Probably the first or last films. We only have one movie to go off of a franchise to the whole franchise of Beverly Hills Cop. So, and that's kind of apples to apples right there. Then comparing it up to Avatar, Evil Dead, The Conjuring, those are harder to compare it to, right? Especially to Avatar with extraordinarily huge budget, all CGI action adventure kind of stuff. But I got to tell you, I enjoyed watching 21 Jump Street more than I enjoyed watching Avatar.
I liked it a whole lot more than watching Beverly Hills Cop too.
Yeah, so I'm okay with this. I would be a little bit more okay with it if it had come in above Avatar, which my score says that right there. So, but
I would have been okay if this came around
it,
like you gave it a 69. If it came in that range and like the It, Conjuring, Jurassic Park range, I'd be okay with that. So like just a little higher than it currently is. I'm not saying it should be like top of the list, but like a little higher.
Yeah, I guess. And of course, our ratings reflect a lot of different things. Each of the three of us rate movies differently. We have our own personal criteria that we use to come up with our score between 1 and 100. We all agree that 50 is kind of the break point between a movie that we would ever recommend to someone or a movie that you shouldn't ever see. However, how we get those numbers is different for all three of us. And so when you get into some of those other movies, there's reasons that maybe the It and The Conjuring did way better than 21 Jump Street because of the way that they were constructed. But maybe we didn't enjoy them as much as 21 Jump Street, because I know I would rather watch the Jurassic Park franchise than the Jump Street franchise.
Yeah.
But I don't like the Avatar franchise. So it all depends, and it's all up to your taste. But we arrive at these numbers through a weird, convoluted way, and we all have our own taste. And then, of course, as we've said, as we go through these comedy films, the humor is so subjective, we can see some wild swings in the comedy section.
Well, that's our rating of 21 Jump Street, but what's yours? Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. We record this every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at twitch.tv/The Mongoolie Show. So head over there and hit the follow button if you want to hang out with us live. Or if you enjoyed this video and you made it this far, you probably did. Make sure you hit like and subscribe so that I see you in the next one.